Hello, this is Palagi. Thank you for tuning into my channel, and this is going to be the start of a series of videos for conceal or defensive carry, whether it be choosing your handguns, your holster, your cleaning regiments, all of that. So we're going to kind of cover it tip to stern, but in this video we're going to run over some of the highlights of choosing a caliber, provided you haven't chosen your caliber yet, okay? Now, first of all, I want to say there's a lot of misinformation out there regarding the calibers, okay? The things you might hear, like, 45 is by far and away the best caliber, or it'll knock them on their ass every time, or it's the king of one-shot stops, okay? Could not be further from the truth. Another 9mm, it's a weak ammo, and only kids or girls or whatever choose that, okay? Again, could not be further from the truth. Another one, you hear 40, if you carry a 40 you're compensating for something, and blah blah blah, on and on it goes, okay? In my experience, those who are the most dogmatic and myopic in their caliber or any of their gun choices, it's just been my experience that they either don't have the experience, or they just simply don't know what they're talking about, okay? That information gets spread, and people start regurgitating it, and it just becomes doctrine, and I don't know how it happens, but that's why this video is in place, to wade through some of that nonsense, okay? Now, I want to say we'll be dealing with the service calibers, namely 9mm, 40, 45, okay? We might throw some other stuff in there. Now, I realize there's other calibers out there. Some people even carry 22, 25, 380 and all of that, okay? Now, although I would probably try to talk somebody into a service caliber, if it's a difference between them carrying those calibers and not, I'd say by all means, and I would never have anything bad to say about that, okay? But there is a reason, alright? For instance, 22, it's an inherently unreliable cartridge, and, because it is rimfire, and not to mention, a 22, it'll kill you dead just as well as any of the rest of these. But there's a big difference between mortally shooting somebody and them having time to do whatever they wanted to do, and actually putting them down, okay? Now, I do want to say, too, the whole idea of a handgun is a compromise, okay? You hear the 40 being called the compromise round like that's a horrible thing or something. But the whole idea of a handgun, like I said, is a compromise, okay? Now, I mean, if I could have the ballistics of a rifle caliber in a small package that held 30 rounds with low recoil, I don't know about you, but that's what I take, okay? We can't have that, so we're reduced to a handgun, okay? It's as simple as that. Now, quickly though, I want to go over though, some of the misnomers and just the stuff out there that I don't like hearing, okay? One-shot stops, okay? You hear that stuff all the time, okay? Now, there's documented cases of slugs bouncing off of people's skulls, or slugs not putting people down, okay? It does happen, okay? Now, if a slug isn't going to put them down, you think a 45 will, or a 40, or a 9mm, okay? Every single time, first shot, it's not going to happen. These are, like I said, notoriously underpowered, all of them, up to and including 50 cal Desert Eagle. Okay, there's no magic bullet out there. Now we got to get that out of the way first. Okay. Secondly, let's run over some of the ballistics really quick. Okay. Now this is off of Gold Dot because I like them and I carried them. I thought it'd be a good representation. Okay. Now 115 grain in 9mm, 115 grain and a 124 grain. Okay. If you average those two together, you get about of energy, okay? You throw the 124 plus P in there, that actually gives you substantial more energy. That 124 plus P has 410 foot-pounds of energy, and it brings the average up to 367 foot-pounds, okay? Now I understand and realize that foot-pounds of energy is not all there is in ballistics. In fact, far from it, but this is just to give you an idea, because most people think that 45 is just the king out there, and the rest sucks. So the 40, as a 155 grain, 160, and a 180, okay? That has an average of 466 foot-pounds, all right? And then your 45, you have a 185 and a 230 with an average of 428.5. If you throw that plus P in there, it brings your average up to 458, okay? So with averages including the plus P on the 9 and the 45, you've got 367 for your 9mm, 466 for your 40, and 458 for your 45, okay? So you can see the 40, as far as foot-pounds, is actually solidly, I shouldn't say solidly, but above both of these, okay? Now, a lot of people don't realize or know that, okay? So I wanted to throw that out there, all right? Now, there's many things to consider when choosing your caliber. For instance, price, and that is a big one because it stands to reason. The cheaper your ammo, the more you're going to practice, and as they say, practice makes perfect, and yada yada yada. Okay, in that category, 9mm is going to win. All right, and the reason it wins is right now it's about $13 a box or 26 cents a round. Okay. Now, coming in second, your 40 at, I don't know, from this side it said about $17.50 bucks. I can get it cheaper than that, but we'll go with that at 35 cents a round, okay? 45 is about 20 cents a box and 44 cents a round, okay? So that is one thing to consider. Price is a big thing, okay? Now, when you factor in compatibility, it's less of a factor. And what I mean by compatibility, I mean compatibility with other calibers, okay? The one thing about the 9mm, you get the 9, you're stuck with the 9. You can't go to 40, 45, 357 SIG, etc., okay? You can, however, with the 40, you can go down to 9mm. You can go to 357 SIG. You know, you can do that, and that's what I do. I have conversion barrels for this, so I shoot 9mm while I'm practicing, and I carry my 40, okay? Now, 45, you don't have much in the way of compatibility either. I think you can convert to like 10mm, like in a Glock platform, but as far as I know, you can't convert down to like 9mm, okay? So, that is compatibility. Now, actually, while we're on the subject, one thing I want to say, okay, so if you are practicing with 9mm in your 40, that's fine, but if you're training, I would say train with your, you know, the caliber that you carry, all right, whatever you do carry, okay? But anyway, moving on here. The ballistics against price, okay? Now, not that the ballistics is the end-all factor, it's not. The one thing I do like, though, about the 9mm, although it's not compatible and you can't change it out with 40 and whatever, it has a very broad spectrum of ammo, okay? From just your basic training ammo to plus P and plus P plus. You can get some very fast cooking ammo out there approaching 357 SIG, and that's what I really like about it, okay? All in one caliber. Alright, now your 40, we already talked about compatibility, and but the ballistics for the price, yes, it would be considered a compromise. I weighed all those out, and that's why I like it. 45, you have it out. You've got, we already went over the ballistics, alright, and you know what, in the platform like this, okay, I don't really see it, but I will tell you where 45 would come into its own is in some of those higher capacity offerings, like, I don't know, off the top of my head, like an FNX or an FNP where you have a 15+1, okay, it's a proven cartridge, it's a good round, and when you can get that kind of capacity out of it, I'm all for it, but normally, you know, that's not an option, and that's normally why I don't care for the 45. Another place 45 would come into its own, though, is with the military. They have to adhere to some of those regulations with like the Geneva Convention and all of that, because they're reduced to ball ammunition or just, you know, like full metal jacket. Now, in that application, 9mm, frankly, is about worthless because it doesn't transfer energy in these tiny bullets, alright? With 45, in a full metal jacket, I'll go ahead and take that every single time because it's a bigger, it's going to be a bigger bullet. I'll take the biggest bullet I can in full metal jacket fashion. But the reason it doesn't matter in carry ammo is because of the modern ammunition and hollow points. They have narrowed that gap considerably. So, you know, all these ammunition, you can get them very close within one another. Okay, so I guess what I'm saying is it doesn't really matter what caliber you choose. Okay, so if I could give you advice, what I'd say is go and rent these guns, figure out what you shoot the best, and figure out the capacity that you are comfortable with carrying, and find a platform that you're comfortable with that has that capacity. Okay, and that's really what it comes down to. Alright, there's no right or wrong answer here, and it's literally what you prefer, what you handle best, and what you shoot the best. Okay? One other thing I want to say here is in small carry guns like this, I'm going to go ahead and take the most capacity, okay? When we're dealing with 7 rounds, okay, that's not a lot of rounds in a gunfight, okay? I wouldn't take a 40 in that position by losing a round. If this only had 6, this doesn't. But I'm just saying, if it was a single stack and has 6 as opposed to 9mm 7 or 5-7, I'm going to take the 9mm. I'd rather have those extra 2 rounds, okay? Now in single stack, this has 5 plus 1, okay? Again, I'd take the 9mm, alright? But when you're dealing with like compact or full-size guns, okay, and you're dealing with 15 9mm as opposed to 13 9mm or 17 to 15, okay, from 9 to 40, that's when I might take a 40 caliber, when I feel I have enough ammunition, okay? But these are all things, these are personal choices that you yourself is going to have to weigh. And like I said, there's no right or wrong answer, but the one thing is don't get thrown off track by the people telling you all this nonsense about how, 9mm is a weak cartridge or 40 is the best cartridge, okay? Here's just a quick fun fact for you, okay? The 45, okay, being shot by a 45 transfers roughly the same energy as somebody throwing a baseball at you, okay? It's not going to knock you down. A slug or anything else is not going to knock you down. It's impossible. Something that tiny, it doesn't matter how fast it's going, that's just not going to happen. So anyway, if you guys have any questions, comments, just go ahead and feel free to leave those in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching and supporting my channel. And until next time, this is Palagi signing off.